Hi you guys, I'm very quickly going to make this video about rapid economic growth and what it means. So we have something called GDP per capita, which means the amount of the goods that were basically goods and services that yielded a certain amount of money through a certain time frame. Can be a quarter, it can be a year. And then you have that total GDP over the amount of the population in said area. And you can measure GDP per capita based on different locations, okay? This case, we're gonna think about it in terms of the country. So I'm gonna explain to you what rapid economic growth is in those terms. So what happens is that you have less population or you have a slow population growth and your GDP is up, right? So your ability for people to access goods and services is basically up. So there's not that much demand on people all trying to grab the same item at the same time. The time that we seen the opposite of this was during the pandemic. So you had actually population going down and GDP going basically down because there was not enough goods and services in our society for the people that we had. So in this case, you have less population and or slow population growth, and then you have the GDP up. That causes a high living standard, which means that because not everybody is competing to buy the same goods, you end up with a good living standard. Okay, I know it says high living standard. You might think like everything's going to be expensive, but that's not necessarily the case. Now, here we go. Because more people are working, you have more tax base. That means that the government can spend money. Okay, so now you have more goods and services because there's more people employed. So this is more people employed. Okay, this is very important because I'm going to explain to you how that can turn into a negative situation later. So more goods and services means more tax, okay, can be paid by businesses. So every time you buy an item, you are basically paying all this money every time you're buying an item. And that money is helping stimulate the government to spend money and fix things and basically make the standard of living for everybody, whether they work or not, the elderly and all of that, their standard of living also improves, right? We have buses and things like that. Now, when you can have a rapid economic growth that goes south is when you get a lot of people working, and that means that unemployment rate goes down. Okay, so unemployment rate goes down, and then all these companies start competing. So what happens now is that the companies, instead of the people trying to buy the same thing at the same time, you have the companies competing. And so the demand now shifts to workers. So the demand is now, we need more workers, right? But your population is slowly going, because that's the whole point of a rapid economic growth. So you're in rapid economic growth and your population is down. Your GDP is technically still up. So you have high living standard. So more people are working. And because more people are working, the businesses are now competing with each other and they start to put the wages up. So now you might think wages up is going to be a great situation. Well, what happens is because wages go up, this is called a wage inflation. And because the wages go up, now people have more spending power, which means that now you have a situation where people are competing for the goods and services that are out there. So now think back to like the pandemic where everybody was trying to buy this toilet paper. Imagine kind of that, right? So now you have all these people trying to buy the same items and you don't have enough items because there's not enough sellers. So the suppliers are the sellers. And then what happens now is that you basically end up with a price inflation, basically. And because there's this price inflation, not everybody can get those items. So you're slowing the economy down. And what that leads to is that you have a rapid economic growth and then you have a slow decline in that rapid economic growth. And that is basically the negative effects of the rapid economic growth on the economy, is that it can grow very quickly and then it just plummets because there's not enough population to keep up with the businesses that need to hire more people. And so you have more goods plus services, but in this case, not enough workers. And so even though they're paying more tax and all this, and you have a high living standard and all of that, it's going to cause something called a wage inflation. Okay. So that is the negative effect of it. And now you know. Now you know why it is better to just have a slow economic increase. And anything fast in business is basically not good. I don't know if you guys know, but the number one business extinguisher out there is a business growing too quickly, too fast. It's the number one thing that takes them out, because you grow too fast, you're not becoming aware of the things you need. If you need to buy more this, more that, more the other, you're just kind of like, I need more of everything, because it just starts to overwhelm you. And it's the number one reason that businesses go out of business. So growing slowly is a good thing. All right, well, that's been my 5 seconds of education for you guys today. Take care of yourselves.